Preconditional loops execute when a Boolean expression is true. They check the Boolean expression before running any of the code inside of the loop. This means that if the expression is false, it may not run that code at all. There are also two types of preconditional loops, which are while loops and for loops. For loops will be their own separate video, as they generally use different elements compared to while loops, so be tuned for that. Now that we've discussed what preconditional loops are, let's go code out a while loop. Alright, now that we've set up some variables, we can get to programming our while loop. So, let's begin by doing while running equals true. And then we'll do the curly braces. Oh, just while running works. And it should not be equals, it should be double equals. While, and then don't forget the parentheses around it. That will mess you up while running. And this curly braces can be down here, or you can put it up here. It doesn't matter too much. The computer will read it the exact same. So while running, we'll do num plus equals rndenum dot next. Let's do 1,6. It'll add a random number between 1 and 5. If num is greater than, let's say, 50. Yeah, that'll run at least 10 times. It could run more. It could run more. Cannot run less. If don't forget the parentheses around it. That's an O. Don't forget the parentheses around your statements. Then let's do the curly braces. If num is greater than 50, running equals false. Semicolon. That's a colon. Semicolon. This should run until num is greater than 50. So then let's just, at the very end, console.writeLine num. Semicolon. Alright, this should be a working while loop. It should run at least 11 times, actually, because it has to be greater than 50. So even if it rolls a 5 every time, it would have to run a second time to get, or another time to get over 50. So let's test it. Alright. Oh, running starts as false. That's why it wasn't running. Of course it wouldn't run if running is false. So let's change this to true. And now it should run. Yep. It ran roughly 19 times. I might have miscounted. It ran roughly 19 times. We can run it again to see if it runs a different amount. 19, 20, 21. Yep, it ran more. And it can run less. Like that. I think that's less than 19. Could be wrong. I didn't count. So that's all you do for a while loop. Remember, if running is false, like we began with, it won't run a single piece of the code inside of this loop. Now that we've coded a preconditional loop, let's discuss what a postconditional loop is. Postconditional loops evaluate the expression after the code is run. This means that it will always run at least one time, even if the expression is false. Postconditional loops are denoted by the do while command. Let's program one now so that you can see the difference between preconditional loops and postconditional loops. Since we already have a working preconditional loop, I'm just going to repurpose it into a postconditional loop. You can do this by replacing the while running with instead a do, and then you would want a while at the very end, and then in parentheses, running, close parentheses, semicolon. This simple change changed it from a preconditional loop to a postconditional loop. None of the code inside has to change for it to become a postconditional loop. So remember how, because running was false, no code ran in the preconditional loop. Making it a postconditional loop means that this code will run at least one time, no matter what. Let's run our program so we can see this happen. It ran one time, despite despite running being false, so this statement is not true. It still ran this code despite this statement not being true. If we change this to true, it will run the same amount of times, or it'll run until this becomes false, just like in a preconditional loop. The only difference between a preconditional loop and a postconditional loop is that a postconditional loop will always run the code inside of the loop at least one time. In summary, if you want the code inside of a loop to run at least one time, use a postconditional loop. If you don't care whether or not it runs once, then use a preconditional loop.